Have you ever wondered if there's like a report card for entire civilizations? A way to grade a species not just by what it does on its home planet, but on a cosmic scale? Well, there is. And today we are diving deep into the Kardashev Scale. I mean, really think about that for a second. The power to summon rain in the middle of a desert, to stop a hurricane in its tracks, or to plug directly into a volcano for clean energy. It sounds completely godlike, right? Like something straight out of science fiction. But what if I told you that that level of control isn't the end goal? It's just the first step. According to this cosmic measuring stick, getting those powers is just the first big level up for any intelligent species out there. Which of course leads to the big, obvious question. Where are we? Where does humanity fit in? With all of our incredible achievements, splitting the atom, landing on the moon, creating AI, surely we've at least made it to the first rung of that ladder, right? Nope, not even close. According to physicist Michio Kaku, we're currently clocking in at a type 0.7. Yeah, you heard me. We're basically still a planetary toddler, still burning the fossil fuels of our long-dead ancestors instead of grabbing the living, breathing power of our own world. Okay, so let's get into this, because the story of how this scale was even created is just as wild as the scale itself. It wasn't dreamed up in some quiet university library. Oh no, it was forged in the chaos of World War II, UFO paranoia, and the Cold War. Just look at this timeline for a second. At first glance, these events might seem totally disconnected, but they're not. They are all dominoes, one tipping over the next, creating this perfect storm of history, fear, and technology that led right to this idea of a cosmic scale. So it all kicks off in the rubble of World War II. The US and the Soviets are in a frantic race to snatch up Nazi Germany's best scientists. The Americans win big with Operation Paperclip, grabbing rocket geniuses like Wernher von Braun. This gives America a huge leg up, which you can imagine absolutely terrifies the Soviets. This fear fuels the arms race, which then ignites the space race. And then, bam, 1957, the Soviets launch Sputnik. That little beeping satellite sends America into a full-blown panic, and suddenly everyone is seeing flying saucers in the sky. And here is where it all comes together. The Soviets are watching America's UFO mania, and a really chilling thought creeps in. What if it's not just a bunch of nonsense? What if the Americans actually find something and get their hands on alien technology first? That single terrifying thought pushed them to start their own program to hunt for alien signals, which we now know as SETI. And working on that very project was a Soviet astronomer named Nikolai Kardashev. His job was to listen for aliens. But before he even turned on the microphone, he asked a question that changed everything. What exactly are we supposed to be listening for? See, Kardashev's idea was both simple and totally brilliant. He figured any civilization advanced enough to beam messages across the galaxy would need to control insane amounts of energy. He realized energy consumption is the great equalizer. It's a universal currency that doesn't care about your biology, your politics, or your culture. It's the one language the laws of physics will always understand. And so, this is the cosmic power ladder he proposed. It starts with Type 1, the planetary masters, who control their own weather. Then you jump to Type 2, who can harness every last bit of energy from their home star. After that, Type 3, who command the power of their entire galaxy. And believe it or not, the scale keeps going into these mind-bending concepts of harnessing whole universes, or even multiple universes. Each step up is a leap in power so big it's almost impossible for us to comprehend. All right, so if we're stuck at 0.7, how in the world do we get to Type I? Well, most physicists think it'll probably take us about another 100, maybe 200 years. And the roadmap to get there involves some seriously wild, next-level engineering. First things first, we have to solve energy. And I'm not talking about national grids. I mean one single, interconnected global grid. Think about it. When it's night on one side of the planet, it's daytime on the other. Solar energy could flow constantly, around the clock, powering everything for everyone, with zero emissions. Once you have that kind of energy on tap, you can start doing some truly incredible stuff, like becoming masters of the weather. Say you need to end a drought. You could fire these super powerful lasers into the sky, creating these invisible tunnels of plasma. These tunnels could then literally steer the massive rivers of water vapor that are already floating above our heads and guide them to go drop rain wherever we want. And honestly, that's just scratching the surface. We could build entire cities under the ocean using concrete that can heal its own cracks. We could steer hurricanes by gently warming parts of the atmosphere to change air pressure. We could prevent earthquakes by carefully managing the stress on tectonic plates. The entire planet becomes our sandbox. But as absolutely mind-blowing as all of that is, that's only Type I. To give you a little taste of the next level, Type 2, a civilization has to think bigger than planets. They have to think about stars. They would need to capture every single watt of energy their sun puts out. The only way to do that? Build the most insane megastructure ever conceived, a Dyson sphere.
So a giant sphere around our entire sun? The engineering is just staggering. We don't have enough metal on the entire planet Earth to build something that massive. So where do we get the materials?
Well, the solution is just as crazy as the problem. You don't use Earth. You send a swarm of self-replicating robots, we call them von Neumann probes, to a planet like Mercury. They would land, start mining, use the materials to build more copies of themselves, and start constructing the sphere, panel by panel. You literally turn an entire planet into a robotic factory. The technology is almost beyond imagination. But here's the twist. The technology isn't the hard part. That leap from where we are now to becoming a Type 1 civilization is widely considered the single most dangerous moment for any intelligent species. And this gets us to Kardashev's great warning. The biggest threat isn't a technical glitch. It's us. We have godlike powers at our fingertips, enough to change the climate or wipe ourselves out with nuclear weapons, but we're still running on ancient tribal software. We're stuck thinking us versus them on a planet that demands we think as we. And that's the ultimate question, isn't it? Can we finally grow up? Can we overcome those primal instincts and work together as a single species on a single planet? Or are we doomed to destroy ourselves before we ever truly get started?
A lot of scientists called this moment the Great Filter. It's this idea that there's a huge, invisible wall that most intelligent life in the universe slams into and never gets past. And for us, the choice is pretty stark. Cooperate and create a world where things like poverty and hunger are just gone, or let our divisions tear us apart through war or a ruined climate.
Just imagine for a moment that we pass. What does life even look like in a Type 1 world? With unlimited clean energy, food, and water? The whole idea of a job just for survival disappears. Your new job, your purpose, might be something like teaching an advanced AI what it feels like to love someone, or why a piece of music can make us cry. In the end, the Kardashev scale isn't really about tech or energy. It's a mirror. It forces us to ask if we're mature enough to handle the power we're creating. Because getting to Type I is one thing, but figuring out what to do with that power, what kind of people we choose to become, that's the real test.